Hi, time to do another video. I got some stuff done. Got the stainless headers made. Went to stainlesssteelheaders.com and they have a series of videos on their tech page. And you go to it and scroll down and they have a bunch of videos on how to make the jig and how to make out of PVC and make up where you're going to run your pipe and everything with PVC. And once you're done with that, you make a jig to show where all the stainless goes and runs so you can clear like your steering and all that. It's all there at stainlessheaders.com. I won't get into the details there, but it worked out okay. I'll show you some of the stuff that I learned in doing it. What you do is you weld, TIG weld, but to get your joints, you want them real close, and to do that, they're butt welds. So I used aluminum duct tape, foil tape, to get them to where I want it, because in their video they show the guy with the TIG weld and doing it with bare hands and doing it. The first time I did it, I almost burned my fingers. I said, there's got to be a better way. So what you do is use the foil tape. But the thing about using the foil tape, you got to make sure you clean it up with acetone or lacquer thinner. Then the other thing, you want to flood the inside with argon. And so you block one end of the tube and put holes in it. And then you hook up you have a dual regulator. One's for running the TIG and the other is for running the gas. And of course, one-handed here. And you just slip on and you fill the thing with argon, the pipe. The thing is, argon is heavier than air. So if you're filling it up and you've got relief holes, you may only fill it up to this hole here and you may not cover this section here. So what you do is you weld in the vertical way. You put it up on end and you turn up the gas. I run it about 40 to 60. And what it does is it totally, you start at the bottom, on the bottom weld, get it, move it up, do the next one, and move your way up the tube. If you don't use argon inside stainless, here's the kind of weld you get inside. Let me see if I can get the light here and get that out of the way. You can see it's called sugaring, and it reduces the diameter of the tube and looks really bad. What you're basically doing is you're burning off all the good stuff that stainless has in it, the nickel and whatever. And when you do it with argon, then you end up, let me get the right light here. And of course I don't have a studio, but you can see how shiny it is, and all the welds turn out really nice and flat and shiny. Wish I could get a better picture here, but there's a better look at it. So doing stainless headers is quite a job. I went through 4 tanks of gas. They're like $50 a pop, but all my welds look as good inside as they look better on the inside than they do on the outside. And here it is. I got room for my steering rod, and I put in cutouts. They come out, electric cutouts come in here, and then going back 3-inch exhaust. It's going to be 2.5 to the side exhaust. And then coming on back, I've got what they call these mufflers are by ZZ Performance. They're 3-inch ultra quiet short stainless resonators. When I put the one in, I said, hey, I got room for another one. Remember, I'm building a gentleman's race car. I don't want it to be noisy when I'm driving down the road. I want it nice and quiet. And if I want to hear noise, I'll hit a switch and open up the side exhaust. And let's see, that's the exhaust. Then I also put in air oil separators. Now what they do is, on the cars that are made in the past, it's a PVC valve. And essentially it sucks all the crankcase gases that slip by the rings, and it puts it right back into the intake, and you coat your intake and your backside of your intake valves with crud coming from the gases coming from that. Basically, there's a coalescent element up inside of here. You can kind of see it. It captures the oil and moisture and all that stuff and drops it out. And then you have a drain right here, and I used quick disconnects, and you have a hose on the end and you drop it down to the deck, and that's where you recover the oil that it captures. And there's one for each side. Of course, it's not plumbed up. Also from Holley, they have a really cool reservoir for the power steering and for the power brakes. It has two return ports for both of those, and I made a bracket that fits real nice onto the engine. Over here, I've got my chiller and pump, and it'll be sitting up underneath, behind, up in this area, hooked under here, and it'll sit in here where, behind the bumper. I couldn't believe it. It was hard to find a spot for that. There's the fuel regulator mounted. Come on back here. Here's the other side. And coming on down here. Got the drive line. For drag racing, you've got to put that loop in there. So if your universal joint breaks, you don't see the drive line come up and get you or hit the ground. I got the third member in there. And the fuel tank. Got it from Rick's fuel tanks. He said, he asked, what chassis do I get? And I said, I got a roadster shop. He said, okay, I'll send you one. Well, there was snafu. I didn't tell him, and I talked to Phil at Roadster Shop, and they've never asked for any drawings on their frames. So what's going on with the independent rear suspension, the rail comes back on a stock one straight through here and hooks up into this area, so it's a straight shot. But with the independent rear, they had to tuck it in, and that created a problem. So I had to scarf a little bit out of the chassis, 3/4 of an inch, to make it fit down in there. Also talking to Phil, he says that they don't use the Aeromotive fuel pumps. There's 2 fuel pumps down in here. And so the strategy is the computer from the engine controls the pumps. So when you're just cruising around, you're only using one pump all the time. When you step on it, which is probably 99% of the time, the second pump kicks in. Well, you're gonna wear one out a lot faster. But being in the industrial and commercial refrigeration, I knew about these relays, and what they're called is, I call them a flip-flop. They call it an alternating relay. And what it does is it flips from one pump to the other. So each time you turn the ignition switch on, it will flip from one pump to the other, so you're putting the equal amount of wear on both pumps. The other thing is, when I put the floor in, you can bet I'm gonna be putting in an access panel to get to the fuel pump. Okay, there's that. And what else? I think that's about it. What's next is I got to take everything off, and I'm going to paint the frame with POR 15 and cover it up with the POR 15 gloss, their chassis gloss paint. And I think that's it. I'll put it back in here. So anyway, hope you can see me. I'll come around here. Anyway, things are going okay. My cancer is, the tumors are still stable, and I'm getting along okay. I did catch the flu in the spring, and that knocked me out of commission for a couple of months, but overall, I'm doing all right. So, Lord willing, I'll have another video sooner than what I did with this one. So, thanks for watching.